If you think that Jim Schwartz is not a big part of this defense this year, you're wrong. He's got to be thrilled right now because he's coached some good defenses with some good corners in the past when he was with the Titans, when he was with the Buffalo Bills. He's had some really good talent. And to be honest with you guys, since he's been here, he hasn't coached a top corner. He hasn't had a top corner. He hasn't had a mid-tier corner on this team for a lot of years, for a good amount of time. He's coming in. You got Darius Slay that we traded 2 picks for. You have Roby Coleman, very good in the slot. One of the best slot corners, probably a top 5 slot corner in the league right now. You obviously don't know what you have at the other side, opposite of Darius Slay, but, I think due in time we will tell and we will see what's going to happen, whether it's Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox. I have no idea at this point, but he's got a lot to work with. I know Jim Schwartz has been a big Jalen Mills fan, and likes his heart and his competitiveness. But you guys have to know something about Jalen Mills moving to safety. I think it's very good for his career, not only his career, but I think it's good for this team because I know we have a big need there. Malcolm Jenkins is gone. You're not going to replace Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins can move all over the field, play whatever position you need him to play, and kind of fill that spot with a second and third safety. Think about it like this. Jalen Mills came to this team as a safety but turned to a cornerback, a 6th, 7th round pick out of LSU. And I know he hasn't played fantastic, but I have to say what Jalen Mills does best is that he doesn't give up on plays. And when he does give up a big play, he comes back and he makes another one. It's not even just him. It's Rasul Douglas. It's a lot of guys on this team that have come back and don't give up. You know how corners, get killed all game and they just give up and you just look like they're defeated. But with Jalen Mills, he's actually playing pretty good for what we drafted him for. I mean, he's a 6th, 7th round pick. In 2015 we drafted him. You know what I mean? He's a 6th, 7th round pick, and he's playing pretty good for what we drafted him for. But obviously when it's game time and we want him to play better and we kind of freak out and, it gets pretty bad. But overall, I think Jim Schwartz loves the idea. I think that, getting him to play safety this year, I think it's a new era for his career. It's a new era for Jalen Mills. It's a new aura around him. It's just a breath of fresh air. And I loved it. And when we re-signed Jalen Mills, I said, oh my God, here we go. But then I saw, well, he's going to play a different position. I said, wow, I think this is what the fans wanted. I think that's what we wanted. We wanted Jalen Mills or Rasul Douglas to change to a safety. We're pray to God that it does happen. And finally, it happens. I don't know what's in store for this defensive line this year, but Jim Schwartz has a lot to move around, to play with. I mean, you're talking, you already had Malik Jackson on this roster. Didn't think he was actually going to be here this year, but I honestly think Malik Jackson will get traded probably in 2021. I don't think they're going to keep his salary for being a rotational guy, obviously. But you pick up Javon Hargrave, one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the league. And on top of everything else, they gave him pretty much the 6th best. He's the 6th best defensive tackle, making money for defensive tackle. So pretty damn good. And a lot of Steelers fans were pissed that he let him go. Fletcher Cox, Malik Jackson, right there, and it's a lot. Hassan Ridgeway, that was a nice flash in the pan last year. That got in the backfield a lot last year. So can't really complain about that. So. Just this whole defensive line. And you had Brandon Graham. Derek Barnett is coming, to be worth his contract. Like, I'm worth the 1st round pick, and I'm going to show you. He's training in Tennessee right now. You have Jannard Avery that we picked up at the trade deadline last year with the Browns' 4th round pick, and he's been working his tail off this offseason. I don't know how many videos I've seen of him training, but he's working his tail off. It's a contract year for him. This year's either going to make it or break it. So if Jannard Avery actually plays well, Derek Barnett could be in trouble. Brandon Graham, pressures, getting to the quarterback. I mean, he's playing so well right now. Played so well last year. I was like, wow. I mean, I'm really glad we did re-sign him when all of us thought he's definitely out the door. But with all the defensive ends that were franchise tagged, like Jadeveon Clowney, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all these guys, I'm kind of glad we did re-sign Brandon Graham to a 3-year extension. So thank God. And Jim Schwartz is going to, I'm excited for him to coach these linebackers. Kevin Fagiolo is the linebackers coach, but Jim Schwartz is going to have a lot of young talent in this linebacker core. We're young. There's a lot of unproven guys, but he'll pick the right 2 or whatever, how many they're keeping or whatever. There's a lot of guys out here. And, Jatavis Brown and Davion Taylor, a third-round pick from Colorado. I mean, Sean Bradley from Temple. There's so many guys on this roster right now, especially at the linebacker position. It's just, obviously, we don't know what's going on because they really need to hit the field, July 28th. Can't wait until training camp actually starts and we can get this thing rolling. But, guys, overall, Jim Schwartz is probably going to have one of the best rosters he's ever had on defense his whole coaching career, honestly. I think this is going to be a very good defense. Spread out that defensive line, wide nine, get to the quarterback. And he has a lot of versatility, too. You have Will Parks coming in at safety, but he's played every position in the secondary, every position. So there are a lot of guys out there right now that are doing their work, and they've been working their tail off this offseason. And Jim Schwartz, he becomes a huge factor with this group, and I don't think he fails. He hasn't really hurt me at all. Okay, I think the only thing that's really pissed me off about Jim Schwartz and what he's been doing is the picket fence defense, where we literally just stand back off the line. We would never play man-to-man. Now we can play man-to-man with this defense. We could put Darius Slay, Nickel Roby-Coleman on guys, and we don't have to worry about zoning and moving back 10, 15 yards on a third down play. I mean, you move back a little bit, but these guys have moved back because Jim Schwartz didn't really trust these corners the past few years, man-to-man on an island. I mean, that would never happen. But now, this defense is from night to day. I mean, totally different. And that's what the rest of the NFC East has to worry about right now, and the rest of the league, because without injuries, this team could go really far. And I think 2020 could be that year. I'm not going to hype them up too much, but as it looks on paper, paper is paper. But I said that last year about this team, but look what happened. We had over 10 injuries last year and still got into the playoffs. So anything could happen. But Jim Schwartz is a huge factor. This defense is a huge factor. These positional groups are fantastic. I'm excited about not only who we have, but the competition that comes with it. So the more cornerbacks you have, the more competition, the more linebackers you have. We have a crap load of linebackers. We are young at linebacker right now. Very, very young. Nigel Bradham is gone, but you know what? You never know what could happen. They could bring a free agent in later. So you never really know at this point. So, guys, let me know what you guys think about Jim Schwartz and all these toys that he does have to manage this defense, and how you think our defense is going to do this year. And what is your favorite position, your favorite player coming into 2020 on this defense? Free agent, draft pick, you name it. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys later. Shake Squad up. Fly, fly.